Overwatch. Overwatch. Blizzard Activision. These are my emotions for these two things. Blizzard Activision and Overwatch. Two of the most discussed subjects on the internet for a better part of a year, with drama being introduced left and right. From a design and artistry game to a repetitive and boringly mind-numbing shooter. From an unproblematic 21 character shooter to a problematic and monotonous 32. Overwatch has been through a lot. From developing and growing a massive community with love and respect for the game, to a community that is screaming for the devs to hear.
Wondering, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
Overwatch has been through a lot. For better or for worse, Overwatch, it's seen better days. In this video, I'll be explaining, talking about, discussing, and breaking down various aspects of Overwatch and Blizzard Activision. Discussing the good in Overwatch, and you can for darn sure expect me to talk about the bad in it. But without further ado, let's get on with the video. A few weeks ago, I was watching a streamer on Twitch by the name of Hollyworld playing Apex Legends. She was an ex-Overwatch player who used to play support for the game, and a viewer started a conversation regarding peak Overwatch.
You miss peak Overwatch? Dude, peak Overwatch was like... It was like a year into Overwatch, let's be real, man. We played it for a long time, but most of that time it wasn't at its peak. It was a long time ago. A long time ago. Overwatch's biggest issue, honestly, is the fact that they never got a good monetization for it. Like, the monetization for Overwatch isn't set up for long term, you know? And a game like Overwatch should be able to last long term, but they just don't set up the monetization correctly.
And that got me thinking. And that thinking turned into me waking up at 6 AM for the first time in, well, forever. And writing this script at 6 AM in the morning because I couldn't stop thinking about it. What was, or is, Overwatch's problem? Why do people hate it? And what's my problem with it? Was I just blinded by my love of the franchise and the game? Was my heart boner for Overwatch too big that I didn't see the obvious issues with the game? Well, yes, in a more crude way. Over the past years, I was blinded and disregarded the issues Overwatch had and grouped them up with the, oh, this game won Game of the Year in 2016. People hate it because it's successful. And in that moment, I was dead wrong. People don't hate the game just to hate it. They all have legitimate reasons for the hate. So I started doing research on it. And this started as doing research for about a day. Then that day started to turn into a week. And then a few weeks, and then it turned into a month, and then a few months. Yeah, you get the idea. Overwatch had problems, and I was gonna sniff them out and talk my piece, damn it. Now, let's address the elephant in the Chinese Xi Jinping room. Blizzard Activision. Over the past weeks, Activision Blizzard has been in some hot water, and for obvious and totally justified reason. A game company that supports China for money is a company that should be in hot water. But as of recently, Blizzard has been in way more than just a Hong Kong scandal. In order to succeed, your desire for success should be greater than your fear of failure. Every closed eye is not sleeping, and every open eye is not seeing. I don't know the key to success, but the key to failure is trying to please everybody. That was a quote. That was a direct quote from Bill, let me drop a roofie in her smoothie, Cosby himself. You can't make this shit up. I'm pretty sure we all know where this is going. HR. Human Resources. Human Resources is the department within a business that is responsible for all things worker-related. That includes recruiting, vetting, selecting, hiring, onboarding, training, promoting, paying, and firing employees and independent contractors. Something that Activision Blizzard lacked because they let a bunch of immature lady gawkers work at their company and have a suit named the Cosby suit and never talk to them about it or even ask them to delete the public Facebook posts. Because why would they do that? Over the past few months, a skeleton casually strolled out of Blizzard's closet and gave the internet a bit of a scare and a doozy in the form of a picture of some male dev dude bros casually posing in a hotel room with a picture of Bilford, let me drop a cosmopolitan pill in her Jägermeister, Cosby. Now, I say skeletons in the closet, but it was a very public Facebook post. And by 2013, Bill Cosby already had a bunch of alleged sexual assault allegations against him. They claim that they named the suit after Bill because of his ugly sweater, but the background looks nothing like the pictures they were holding. So I don't know, man. It seems kinda sus to me. Aside from Bill, let me drop a circle in your shoddy hottie, Cosby, and his infamous suit, the dude bro mentality persisted within the company. This persisted with numerous sexual harassments in the company and in the workplace, often having most of the female employees fighting over their positions in the company. There was also a female employee that unfortunately took her own life because of this. Blizzard as a company has been doing a lot of things wrong. Surely it can't get any worse, right? Oh no. Blizzard Activision has problems. This isn't the first time and surely won't be the last time we hear about these. But let's get on to the head honcho of Activision itself. Bobby Kotick. What cheese would look like with a face. Bobby Kotick has a net worth of $7 billion, more than a third of Blizzard's net worth. In 2021, he got a salary cut of 50%, which means that he made $875,000, and a reduced bonus by 50% as well, for each of the 2021 and 2022 fiscal year. Now, why is this important? Well, Bobby received a $155 million package for 2020. So instead of losing $1.7 million, he actually gained $155 million. Almost 100%. The main reason he gained so much money was because of a little virus that, killed a few people and made the rich richer. Just a little virus. I'm pretty sure none of you know what it is. Most of his packaged money for 2020 was awarded to him because of a 2016 goal of doubling the company's market capitalization. And because of COVID not letting anyone go anywhere, people started staying home more and played more games. See, because of this increase, a lot of people assumed that a company like Blizzard Activision would be able to actually pay its employees right and not like a street hobo begging for money. They started off by laying teams in Europe. Then they fired 50 employees that handle esports programming and other live events. This affected less than 2% of the company's total workforce, which is astounding to me because the way they let them go was a very "I'm an evil millionaire company" sort of way. Players are increasingly choosing to connect with our games digitally, and the esports team, much like traditional sports, entertainment, and broadcasting industries, has had to adopt its business due to the impact of the pandemic has had on live events. Which pretty much means that COVID pretty much fucked 50 people out of their jobs. Actually, 50 plus people out of their jobs. Oh, but don't worry, it gets worse. The employees that were fired received a minimum of a 90-day severance and health benefits for a year, as well as a job transition support. And get this, a $200 gift card for Battle.net. Wow! Could you imagine losing your job at Blizzard Activision and then they just handing you $200 gift cards? Like, It fucking sucks. I shouldn't be laughing. I'm sorry. This isn't the worst of it. They also laid off roughly 800 people in early 2019. I don't know if you guys remember that, but that was a big thing. This affected so many people's lives and pretty much began a revolt over pay where Blizzard workers would share salaries because they weren't paid enough. CEOs and execs make the big bucks while workers were paid next to nothing. To say that this is Bobby Kotick's fault is a bit of an understatement. It's pretty much his fault that these people are paid like shit. You got people like fucking Satoru Iwata, God bless his soul, who fucking paid half of his salary so people could keep working on the Wii U when the Wii U was going through. Remember that story? Oh yeah, also a fun fact that isn't really that fun. I've said fun 3 times, actually 4 times. Bobby Kotick's name is in Epstein's Little Black Book. If he wasn't evil in your eyes before, well, here you go. But now we're done with the political and economical parts of Blizzard Activision. Let's start to talk about Overwatch. The title of this video is Why I Hate Overwatch, and I barely even talked about it, so I'm terribly sorry. I remember going to America for one trip and going to a mall. Looking up, I could see a giant poster of a video game character. At the time, I had no idea who or what they were from. Thankfully, this poster was posted above a GameStop, so I asked the clerk about it. They told me it was for an upcoming game called Overwatch. Overwatch, a team-based multiplayer first-person shooter developed and published by Blizzard Entertainment. Overwatch can be described as a hero shooter. It wasn't the first of its kind, but was definitely one that popularized the phrase and the genre. While games like Team Fortress 2 and Star Wars Battlefront were some of the first hero shooters to ever hit the market, their audience reach never hit mainstream like Overwatch's did. That's not to say that these games were unpopular or bad, oh no. What I mean by this is that it didn't make an impact or push that Overwatch did to the mainstream market. A person picking up TF2 is gonna have a harder time figuring out the game than a person who's playing Overwatch would. Overwatch was a much more easier game to understand, whereas in Team Fortress 2, you pretty much have to know stuff before you play the game. Overwatch was in development for a while. It was originally called Titan back in 2013, but was cancelled. Then it was later called Overwatch and was released in 2016. Titan was in development since 2007, and was internally cancelled in May of 2013. Much wasn't known about Titan other than it was a class-based shooter much like Overwatch is now. I don't even have screenshots of the game itself, but I do have some concept art. These honestly look like sick character designs and overall they look fucking cool. Sadly, Project Titan was cancelled and may never see the light of day again. The same year Titan was cancelled, Overwatch was announced. This was Blizzard's first new IP since StarCraft. This game skyrocketed the hero shooter genre and pretty much made it mainstream all on its own. But why exactly is that? Well, the reasons behind this was because it was fun. The overall appeal of Overwatch was fun, especially in 2016 when the game was new. 2016 for shooters mainly, and I mean it, consisted of military shooters that lacked color and appeal. I love you, Titanfall 2, but man, do you have a lot of dull colors. In 2016, we had games like Battlefield 1, Gears of War 4, Killing Floor 2, Titanfall 2, Rainbow Six Siege, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, and Homefront. Does anyone even remember that game? Most, if not all, of the games that I just mentioned have a military shooter aspects to them. They were just realistic shooters that started to melt together. They were all missing the fun aspects to it. Now, I know my bias is showing, but I loved Titanfall 2. It was the only one out of that list that actually gave me hours of fun and enjoyment because of how customizable the game was and how you can make your own class in it. And also, it was fun because you could ride a fucking Titan. You can also control it too. If that's not the coolest shit I've ever said in this fucking channel, then I don't know what is. It was an amazing game that got sandwiched between Call of Duty and Battlefield. so it stood no chance and wasted away in FPS shooter obscurity history. But back to Overwatch. Because of this 2016 FPS all look the same drought, it brought a breath of fresh air with it. It wasn't a military shooter. It wasn't trying to be realistic. And that was the fun aspect that people loved about it. That was the aspect that a lot of people fell in love with. You could play as a robot monk shooting orbs, a robot ninja, a giant fucking Harambe gorilla with a Tesla gun, and even a fucking sexy ass hacker chick. Anyways, it wasn't realistic, which means it wasn't trying to cram mechanics in your face or telling you how the game works. It was fun for a year. Then toxicity quickly enveloped the game and made it an unplayable mess. But aside from toxicity, the game was very fun into its first year. And being a shooter, that was an important thing to keep. The retention of the players. See, Overwatch was doing banger numbers. In its first week, it attracted 7 million players. In 1 week. That was insane! Compared to something like COD, which sold 1.8 million copies in its first week. This did banger numbers. And it deserved it in a way. People were flocking over to Overwatch because it was a colorful and easy game to play. The characters weren't too difficult to figure out, and the mechanics made the game make sense in a fun way. Not an I got quickscope by Timmy using McDonald's Wi-Fi way, which is what the other shooters were doing. The skill ceiling for Overwatch was just low enough that people could just hop in and play. That was before it became too mainstream for its own good. See, Overwatch, much like many other games, had to evolve and make updates. Update the game with new characters and new maps. And one of these updates was a character by the name of Brigitte Lindholm. In Overwatch, you have 3 classes, such as tanks, healers, and DPS characters. It used to be 4 classes, offense, defense, support, and tanks, but this made a huge problem. Because of this, there was no role lock, which means you could pick 5 tanks and 1 healer, or 3 tanks and 3 healers. And this is where Overwatch had a huge problems in terms of matchmakings and the meta. After the change from 4 classes to 3, they didn't issue a role lock system for the game. What this means is that there was nothing stopping people in competitive and even in their own esports to pick a comp that consisted of 3 tanks and 3 supports. This was known as the GOATS meta of Overwatch, and this was one of Overwatch's darkest times. The GOATS comp was a comp made by a North American Overwatch team called GOATS. Yeah, this team used this comp to barrel their way through the division and essentially destroying the competition. GOATS is a comp consisting of 3 tanks and 3 supports. The tanks are D.Va, Reinhardt, and Zarya, while the supports are Brigitte, Moira, and Lucio. The comp only works with these characters, and you'll find out why. Essentially, the way GOATS works is choosing a character to target on and going all in on them. This was a very brain-dead method, but very, very effective, because in Overwatch, if one team member dies, an entire team dies. And this was one of Overwatch's many flaws. You rely too heavily on teammates. If your tank dies, then your healers are exposed. If your healer dies, then your squad won't get heals. If your DPS dies, your squad won't have enough damage to survive and counterattack. But with GOATS, you essentially bypass this and give your team a walled defense. It makes it almost impossible for the other team to kill you. And this raised another problem with this comp. It was meta, which means that if the other team wasn't running this comp, they would be screwed. Now, of course, this isn't always the case, but you're going to have to need a lot of good communication with your team members if you actually want to defeat GOATS. And knowing Overwatch as an online game, communication wasn't the best of things. that it wasn't its strongest suit. Let's just say that. Another problem persisted as well, and her name was Brigitte. See, Brigitte is classified as a healer. She can heal teammates and can use her shield bash to stun enemies temporarily. Because of this, if the other team was using Reinhardt as their main tank, then Brigitte can walk up to Reinhardt and stun him, while D.Va uses her self-destruct ult, timing it perfectly with Reinhardt's Earth Shatter ult, giving them a second of vulnerability, and use it to blast quickly and rush through and kill everyone. Because of this one ability and its one side effect, it made the whole Overwatch experience go down under like a kangaroo playing a didgeridoo. This comp became the standard and made competitive not fun at all, not even to spectate. People started to lose interest in Overwatch and in their esports division because this comp made everything brain dead and made it predictable what was going to happen. The GOATS comp isn't destructible, but it is one of the strongest compositions in Overwatch, and probably will be in its history. The GOATS comp soon ceased to exist because they updated rank and Overwatch as a whole and made the game 2-2-2 and made it role locked, which means 2 tanks, 2 supports, and 2 DPS. You can't mix and match anymore, you can only pick 2-2-2. A bit of a better solution, but ultimately will also go away in Overwatch 2, since that will be a 5-player team shooter rather than Overwatch's 6-player team shooter that it's been for a long time. Oh man, I can't see that going wrong. Speaking of Overwatch 2. Overwatch 2 was announced at 2019 and looks exactly like Overwatch 1. That's it. That's the chapter. Moving along! Overwatch has a serious problem with its monetization. What I mean by this is that everything in the game is essentially free. All you have to do is earn coins to unlock them, which doesn't sound free, but after a while, you'll understand why. These in-game currencies are so easy to unlock that after about 100 hours, or hell, even 50, you'll have so much coin that you won't know what to do with it. Characters in Overwatch are free and are presented in the form of updates, which means you'll be using your coins on different skins and accessories for your characters. Some of these skins can't be achieved because of their event skins, which means they're locked after a certain time. But some you can just buy with normal coin. The monetization in Overwatch is almost non-existent. The only thing you can buy in Overwatch is the dreaded loot box, which has been a controversy in and of itself, and I don't want to talk about it. You don't need to buy skins. All you have to do is buy the game once, and that's it. Albeit the game is at full price and it is $60, but I mean, Overwatch 2 is going to come out, so I imagine that this is going to get a price reduction. Hopefully, Blizzard, if you don't give me a price reduction on a game that came out in 2016, I'm going to fucking kill you. This isn't a threat, by the way. Please don't record that. But back to the topic. You can just rock a default skin and boom. Nothing's changed if you were to have a legendary skin compared to a default skin. Yeah, sure, a few little things would change, like for example, certain voice lines would play, or the appearance of certain items will change, but nothing really too major to the game. In other games like Apex, you have a battle pass that you can get every season that houses some special in-game skins exclusive to that battle pass. Nowadays, a lot of games have battle pass, and it's pretty much became the norm. Apex, Siege, Battlefield, and even COD has them. And this is essentially making Overwatch struggle with its monetization. Another factor is that Overwatch doesn't have cross-saves, which means that on all platforms, it's $60. Which means that if you played Overwatch on the PS4, you're gonna have to buy it again on the PC. I'm gonna compare it to Genshin, so please bear with me for a second. I know I'm a weeb, just please bear with me. I started playing Genshin Impact on my PS4 before cross-save became a thing. I did this for a while and got pretty far into the game. I didn't have a gaming PC yet, but when I did, I waited for the 2.0 update to introduce cross-save and started playing the game again on my PC. It was a breath of fresh air because I kinda did spend money trying to get a specific waifu. For Overwatch, I spent so long playing the game on the PlayStation 4, but after finding out it doesn't have cross-save, I had no desire to want to replay it on the PC. This is a problem that hopefully gets remedied in Overwatch 2, but I highly doubt it. But unfortunately, this drove a ton of players away from actually playing the game. Here's the thing with me. When I finally managed to get all my stuff from Genshin on the PS4 to the PC, I sort of got addicted again. No, I didn't spend money trying to get Xingyang because she's my favorite character in pretty much every way and pretty much is everything I fucking love in a character design, and also she shares the same birthday as me. No, I didn't spend. Maybe I might have, just don't. Okay, maybe, alright. And with Apex, it was a bit different because essentially I had to start from scratch. But the difference between Apex and Overwatch is that it was fun. Also, the game was free, so I had nothing to lose starting over again. I really didn't spend any money on the PlayStation 4 version, so I might as well just start here. Unlike Overwatch, in Apex, you and 59 poor fucks have the same luck starting off. It's a battle royale after all. Another aspect that was done better in Apex than in Overwatch was the ranking system. The ranking system was ranked individually, unlike Overwatch's entire team rank. If your team loses in rank, you lose RP. But in Apex, if you manage to get enough positive RP, then you're pretty much solid. Yes, you can get more RP with staying with your team and getting kills, but honestly, all you can do in the game is just rat your way to second place. Whenever I compare my love to Apex to Overwatch, it's clear to me which one I like more because it's fun. Now, don't get me wrong, Apex also has its fair share of problems, but at the end of the day, when you get a good 6-kill match, it just feels so much better than playing fucking goats in Overwatch. Yes, I know, I'm talking about 6 kills. I could have talked about 12, but I'm not that good. Plus, Apex has been receiving more characters in a year than Overwatch has in the last year. Overall, Apex and its updates are way more significant and had way more meat on their bones than Overwatch does. Unfortunately, there are a lot of games that play way better than Overwatch and will give you more excitement and more value for your buck. With Overwatch 2 in the distant future, I am not as excited for it as I was for the first one. Honestly, Overwatch 2 to me was more like a, oh shit, here's Overwatch 2. Now forget all the bad shit we did with the whole Hong Kong situation. Here you go. For Blizzard. Overwatch 2 was initially announced at BlizzCon 2019 and was honestly just the same rusted car with a new paint job. I'm starting to lose faith even more when Jeff Kaplan, the lead developer for Overwatch 1, left Blizzard, and this was a few months after Overwatch 2 was announced. So, I mean, it was pretty far into its development once you think about it, but, I mean, I'm losing faith. Honestly, with all these scandals happening and all the drama, it's safe to say that Overwatch 2 will most likely be a fart in the wind, trying to rekindle an old flame in a player's heart. Obviously, when the game releases in 2023, it will get an initial boost and people will play it for the first few months, but after that, it will probably suffer the same way Overwatch 1 is suffering now. Well, that's the end of the video. I told you guys that this would be a very hefty one. I tried doing as much research as I possibly can and also put my own opinion piece on this video. It was all written from the heart. I literally had to wake up one day at 6 a.m. just to write the script. It was just something I poured my heart into. Overwatch to me used to mean a lot of things. I used to love it a lot, and well, it just became a very brain dead game nowadays. Of course, this is my opinion, and you know, my opinion on the drama surrounding Blizzard that's happening all of a sudden. So yeah, take it with a grain of salt, I guess. But this was the game that I held very near and dear to my heart. I just sat down and let my creativity flow on paper when I was writing the script. Or, well, my keyboard, but you know what I mean. But that's it for me. Hopefully you all enjoy. If you're new to the channel and you made it this far, consider liking and subscribing. It means a lot to me. And also, if you made it this far, then thanks. Every minute of views counts, and, you know, thank you so much. That's gonna be it for me. Hopefully you guys enjoy, and I'll see you guys when I see you guys. Until then, don't be a stranger. Bye!